Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. One of the horses ran through the fence, so we've got to go out there and get it fixed. It is clouding up. I don't know if it's supposed to rain or not, but the wind is blowing like crazy again, and it's kind of getting cloudy and kind of rainy looking, so hopefully we can beat the rain if it's going to rain. But we're going to head out here to the fence first and see what all we're going to need to repair it, and then we're going to come back and get everything that we need to fix it and go back out and hopefully just make one trip out there and get it done. So we'll show you what's going on. Our T-post has an I-type connector here with an insulator that hooks up here on the middle. When the horse ran through the fence, it put enough tension on it to actually break the bolt that threads into the connector to the post. Plus, the other piece of wire that connects to the other post is broke loose from the connector here at the corner too. So it's no big deal. It's just a couple new parts. You know, we're just going to put a new connector on here, or a new insulator, and then retwist a couple wires, and we should be good to go. So we've got to take our connector off, which I already had this thing bent open because where the bolt is broke, then you can't unthread that right now. So I just bent out the wings here a little bit so it'd come off. All we're gonna do is put it on our new one, and then that way we can connect our wires back up to it. And there's a couple down on the other end of the fence too that we will take loose and pull up the slack in the fence so that it's not hanging down, and make sure everything gets tightened up good. As you can see on our fence here, this was the eye that used to be in here on the insulator. So we've just got a piece of fence that hooks in to each end of it. So I'm just going to try to slip this off, hopefully be able to pull enough slack into it and just slip it on the, actually, the eyes are actually closed on this other one, so I know I can't do that. So I'm going to have to cut it off. We're just going to stick our wire through the eye, bend this thing back, and twist it together so it can't come loose. And I'm going to cut off this excess pointy piece right here. That way it doesn't get hung on anything. Ooh, we might not get lucky on this one. The wire's got a bunch of slack in it, so I'm just going to follow it back all the way back to where this wire started to try to figure out, one, why there's so much in it, because if there's nothing disconnected on the post down through there, then there shouldn't be really any slack in this wire, unless maybe whenever the horse ran through it, it stretched it. So anyways, we're going to follow it back to where it starts at, and then once we get there, as long as there's no breaks in the wire anywhere else, or you know, no T-posts or anything like the connections being broke, then we're going to just tighten it up down there on the far end and pull all the slack out of it, and then bring it back up nice and tight. So we got down to the other end of our fence, I've already wrapped this end around the post just to kind of hold it in place so I keep tension on my wire. Another one of the insulators was broke. So we're going to pull this off, re-tie our wire on here. Then we've got another wire that connects it right here because this is a corner post again. And we've got another wire that connects here. Plus we've got a gate over here on this side, and it'll connect also to the eye on this post. Looks like that one's going to be stubborn too, so I'm going to grab my pliers and just bend this thing off of here. And then that does it right there. So that wasn't too big of a deal. We've got our fence tied off coming in from this side, goes all the way out through there. Now one thing too, whenever you're hooking up a fence like this, I don't know if this is the correct way. I'm not a professional fence installer or anything like that. I'm sure maybe there's some type of a insulator that is made for these corners and stuff like this, but this is the way that we did it, and it works for us. But one thing that you do have to watch when you're running a fence off of a 90-degree turn this way and you're going back this way, and you've got, of course, a gate that connects here, this wire right here is close to this metal, and when you've got your fence turned on, this will arc over. So you do have to insulate this with something. Either you've got to wrap some tape around it, or, you know, like I say, there's probably another way that you can hook this up. But this is just the way we done it. I'm not an electric fence installer. Never done this until we put this fence in. And so for the last 4 years, it has worked out great for us. And like I say, just keeping a check on this kind of stuff. I'll actually come back and insulate this. I don't know exactly. Maybe I had this hooked up here differently before. I don't know. I don't know why it's so close to it now. But like I say, maybe it was hooked up differently. But I'm definitely going to come back and insulate that so that we don't have any problems with it arcing over to our post, because our post is obviously grounded, and that's what causes your fence to make its connection in order for it to shock something. But anyways, we've got this one here that runs up to another gate up there, and then of course we've got this one down here. We've got several paddocks here that we keep the horses in, and the one down here on the far end right now, we actually kept them through the winter time down there, so it's actually tracked up and eaten down really far, so we're hoping that actually we can kind of get that to recover. But the others are in pretty good condition, and that's why we didn't actually let the horses in here through the winter time, is so that they didn't destroy these other nicer fields with the nicer grass and the healthier grass. So we've got one over here also, and then of course this area right here in the middle is actually the part that's actually connected to the barn. But as you can see, they've actually grazed all this completely down through the winter. Of course, they tracked it more than anything, and horses are destructive. If you've got them in a confined area, they're very destructive. We actually have a small dry lot over here by the barn that's where they stand and eat through the winter time, so that their hooves and stuff are not always in the mud and they're not standing in the water and stuff. But once they venture away from that, then obviously they track all this stuff down and just make a mess out of it, which is why that we don't typically let them in these other fields, is so that they don't destroy that also. So when springtime comes around, then they're going to have some nice green grass for them to be able to go back and graze on. So thanks for following along with us today. You know, I mean, this was a simple fix for us today. We do hope to improve our fencing here in the near future. I was telling you before on another video that we had a very big fencing project comes up. Well, if things work out for us, then we will have that project still coming up, but we don't know for sure yet. So we're in the process of trying to work all that out. If things work out the way it's planned, we're actually going to fence off 10 acres and have 5 separate paddocks fenced off in all that, roughly 2 acres apiece. And that's going to be a pretty big project. But until we find out whether that's actually going to pull through for the summertime, you know, it's just kind of plans, things we're working on. But as of right now, this fence has been okay, with the occasional escape from the horses, but it's not too bad, because usually it's a repair that you can fix, you know, in a matter of a few minutes. I mean, we've been out here, you know, 30 minutes or so working on the fence, and it's just a matter of making a couple connections and twisting wires together, and it works out really well. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video today, make sure you click that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.